I'm sitting down to do something I have not done for a very long time. Sitting at a piano, trying to write some music. Um, as we're in the process of trying to get this movie fully funded, and we've raised thousands and thousands of dollars, but we still have a very long way to go. In the midst of all the things I have to take care of to try to meet that financial goal, I'm trying to use this time to also see if I can find the music of this film, some of the themes of it. Music has played a big part in my life. It also plays a big part in this story. After my wreck, I can remember, I had my arm in a brace and I couldn't remember a lot of things I used to be able to do, people's names and playing the piano and things like that. And I can remember I was actually living in Shawnee at the time it happened. In the screenplay, I've placed it in Tulsa when I was in high school, setting it in that time frame. Opened up a lot of narrative possibilities, but I was actually 24 and I was living in Shawnee, and I would sit with my arm in a brace. I would sit for hours and hours in Ford Music Hall at OBU, staring at the piano keys, trying to force my brain to remember the things that I had written. I've always played by ear, so I never wrote anything down. And I'll always remember the hours I spent staring at those keys with my fingers on top of them, trying to remember anything. I would just move my fingers around, listening for any combination of any notes that sounded familiar. And it was such a struggle, but it was very therapeutic. I was working my arm, and I was forcing myself to remember things that I know were stored in there. Hours and hours and hours I would spend literally trying to basically teach myself to play piano again. And eventually the music did come back to me, but I wanted to see if I can find some themes to this movie. I'm a very visual person. I'm also a very, I hear music and I instantly picture things. That's one of the reasons I made the trailer in the first place, is I heard a piece of music that was absolutely perfect and I was able to, purchase the rights to use it. But I wanted to sit down and see if I can find the character of Emily is so central to the storyline, and I do have a composer I'm interested in, hiring and working with once we're fully funded. But I also would like to, write some of the music myself, or at least some of the themes, some of the melodies, and I wanted to just sit down and see if I can find Emily's story through music. I have absolutely no idea what's going to happen when I play these keys, but similarly to how I was relearning to do those things years ago, I'm very curious to see what might come out of my fingers and my mind today.